So let's talk about building a habit of continuous learning. What is it? What are some of your practices that you use to build that habit or to try to build the habit? What is it that you are trying to do? So who would like to contribute first? Douglas.
I'll jump in. I'm bad at, well, actually, I'm really excellent at breaking the habit, but I try to step away from my desk whenever possible for lunch. And I actually kind of walk around the desk and I sit down and I don't know, I'll grab the latest ATD magazine or a book or throw a little record on the record player or grab the LinkedIn Learning or something like that, just to kind of step away or print out an article and kind of noodle through it for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so easy to just, oh, well, I'll get to it, or I'll print something out. I'll be like, I'm going to read that when I get home after dinner. Right.
Yeah, right. I like that. So that's sort of a process of let's shake off what we're doing right now so that way I can find the mind space to do something new. I like that idea. Yes, Benita. And I did see your hand too, Kelly.
So one thing that I do is because I'm driven by my Outlook calendar, is that every week from, I think I have it from 8:30 to 9 a.m. that I have, it's called professional development time. And it's only a half an hour. But the thing is, if I've already done some professional development before that Thursday, then I mark it as complete. But if I haven't, it forces me to actually think about it and do something during that like half an hour time. So that's my scheduled time that I block out every single week.
I love that. And here's what I love about that. We say that often as a good practice, right? Is to mark that time in your calendar as something that is concrete and not something you don't disturb. But I love that you added it as a task item. So when it's completed, when I've done it, I can actually mark it as completed. That's genius for me, because I don't know about you. There's a certain satisfaction, isn't there, of being able to check something off a list. And I think that that's a great level up, if you will, to adding something to your calendar, is to actually add it as a task list to support it. So thank you for that. Great idea.
So for me, I know it sounds strange, but when I go on weekends away or vacations, I bring one of the books I can't ever get to at home. And right. I know that sounds crazy, but like last year I read Patty Shank's book. I had it for a while, could not get to it. And I was like, finally, I'm getting to this. And everybody else went skiing and I stayed in the condo and I sat down and I read like half the book and made all kinds of comments in it. And I find that if I'm saying, okay, this is vacation, but part of vacation is relaxing and learning something new. To me, that is, I'm in the mindset when I'm away from my desk to learn something new. When I'm at my desk, it's all about work, and Shannon knows all about my work. And so it's all about work, and that thought of trying to squeeze in professional development when I've got people pinging me and everything. But being away and having in a different location, I feel like my mind is more open to learning something new.
Mm-hmm. I like that. You're right. I think that there's a certain mental trigger, isn't there, when you're at your desk, and it's that trigger is that here is my workspace. So mentally you have that here is my workspace. So not unlike what Doug was suggesting, it's like whatever that step away looks like, if it's vacation time or if it's coffee time or whatever it is to get rid of the trigger, that may be holding you down. And the book Habits by Charles, is it Duhigg? Darn it, I can't remember. Maybe you can find it. He talks about in that book about the importance of recognizing triggers, and those triggers create habits. And I think that's in part Duhigg. Thank you, Victoria. So that's an important one. One of my favorite books, by the way. So thank you for that, Kelly. And sure. Dr. Carol, I see you.
Yes, thank you. Now, what I started about 49 days ago, when I got, get bogged down in my computer, writing or dealing with some learning and development, every time I got up, maybe to go to the restroom, I carried my phone and I had downloaded this app on my phone, Duolingo. So
Oh.
every time I got to the bathroom, I did a lesson in Spanish. I'm trying to learn a couple new languages. That's what I did. Like just for 10 minutes, I go to the restroom, carry my phone, get on the Duolingo, do one lesson, and then I get back, sort of resets my mind, a fresh perspective. So when I get back to my desk, I can go back to what I was doing. And I've got one topic in Spanish down, and I'm back afresh with whatever I was working on.
Oh my God, that is fabulous. You know, one of Chris Coldonato, and Chris Coldonato did Learn Something New for us a while back. But I was just talking with her recently. To that point, Dr. Carol, she was saying, what is it that we do in particular what is it that we do in particular downtime? So when you are in line at the grocery store, you know, or when you're on hold, you know, or when you find yourself in those moments, like in line at the post office or what have you, you know, so when you find those little break in times, or in your example, you know, you're on your way to the bathroom or at the bathroom, you know, so you have those little encapsulated moments. And is there something you could be doing in those moments? Right. And I just love that. That is just so unique and special. So thank you for sharing, because it really did bring up that memory for me about that conversation I had with Chris. Awesome. Okay. Anyone else?
Well, I know this is sort of boring, but
Mm-mm.
the email blog, the blogs that get emailed to you all the time, you have to like actually read them. It doesn't count if you just get the email. You have to actually read them. But I put them in my email box, and I have a policy, like as soon as I'm done with something, I move it to the done folder. And so sometimes they stay there for a while, but that's really what I do.
I like it. And no, not boring. Not boring. No, it's a great practice, right? It's about building the habit of whatever it is you do. And I get my email right now is just so cluttered with all sorts of stuff that I find that I read, and sometimes I don't read it. To me, it depends on the mood that I'm in. It's like, what is it that I want to learn about right now? And so that item might stay live in my mailbox, and then something else may get archived, you know, for later, or it goes into my Feedly. So, you know, it's just a matter of how are you organizing and curating the information that comes to you, right? And I love that. If you, again, it's that checklist item, right? So you move it to done, and it's like, ooh, I did something, and I'm going to move it, and it's going to work for me. So yes, absolutely. Okay. And thank you, Stella. Participating in the coffee chats is a good habit. I like to think so. And I'll tell you, it helps me. So you guys might think, oh, this, you know, it's a great community for all of us to be a part of. But let me tell you, it helps me too, because with each one of these topics that we discuss, I've got to do research. I've got to look it up. I've got to refresh my memory. I have to go back and do some studying, and, you know, so it helps me too. So we are all in this together. And that's what I love about our community, is that we are all in this together. All right. Okay. Yeah. And professional organization. So if you are a member of ATD, like your local chapter, right? Local chapter of ATD, or if you're part of the guild, you know, so there are lots of different groups that you can be part of, but it is all about what Renee said. It does hook back to what Renee said. If you are a member, you need to be active. You know, so the value is not necessarily what, in this case, what the Learning Rebels Coffee Chat gives to you. It's what you take away and apply, right? So what is it that you're doing with this information?